everyone, it's Margaret with Creative Stamping with Margaret. Thanks for joining me today. Today's card is one of the cards from the September 2023 card classes. We focused on holiday cards, specifically Christmas cards for the month. And, we've all got to start getting ready for Christmas. It'll be here before we know it. And this card uses the Trucking Along bundle. Now, this is an online exclusive set. The Trucking Along stamp set is available right now. The truck punch, is on back order. It's supposed to be back in the middle of October, but I'll tell you, it's so easy just to fussy cut this little truck that you could go ahead and get the stamp set if you were in a hurry and wanted it, or wait till mid-October, and when that punch comes back in, you can get the entire bundle. Of course, the advantage of a bundle is you do save 10% on that, but if you are just impatient like I can be sometime, you could go ahead and order that stamp set and get the punch when it comes back in. And the card that we're making, as you see, I've got two trucks and they're coming down the mountain. This paper is the paper from the One Horse Open Sleigh paper set. I love that designer series paper. And if you've watched any of the other videos, there are 4 videos that feature holiday cards from the September card class, and this is one of those 4. But if you look at one of the videos that uses the horse and sleigh set, you will see I use that paper also there as the background. But when I saw the paper design of the hill, I just thought it would be so cute. As you can see, here is what that paper looks like. Of course, I've trimmed a little off of it to use for this card front, but I just thought having trucks come down the mountain with trees in the back would be such a cute card. So we've used that. As you also will notice, this is a larger card. I've used the Memories and More card set. That comes with the larger cards, which are, I believe these are 6 1/4. Yes, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and of course then it has the larger envelope. So it's a nice size. It's larger than our typical 5 1/4 by 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and I do like to use these larger cards sometime for card creations. So let's get started. So what we're going to need, and you'll have the list of these materials will be in the description of this video. So we have our designer series paper. Then I have that, I'm layering that onto a panel of real red. Of course, we have our Memories and More card. Let's go ahead and fold that. And burnish it really good along that score line. This is very thick, heavy, basic white cardstock, so it's nice, and may as well go ahead and add our glue to the back of our designer series paper, and we'll add this to our real red. This red just adds a nice little pop of color to this card, especially since we're going to use red for our trucks. Now, if you wanted to change the color of your truck and use a different color, I would suggest also changing the background piece. So you could do all different types of colors. You could have a gray truck, you could have a blue truck, just whatever color you would like. but I wanted a red truck. And then you're going to need some scrap paper, and that will be to stamp your 2 trucks on. You'll also need another scrap for your sentiment, and to stamp the 2 trees on, which you will fussy cut those trees, and I'm going to show you how we go about doing that. And you will also need a scrap of real red, and I've misplaced that scrap I was going to show you. But what you'll do is we are using the double oval punch, and so you will punch the background panel for the interior of the sentiment special delivery on the scrap of white and layer that onto that. And of course the envelope that comes with the truck. So I have already prepared 1 truck, but I'm just going to stamp another one. I'm going to give you a few little tips. So let's pull in. We have the wheels, then we have the truck outline, then we have the truck body. So for the outline, I'm using Memento Black, and of course I'm using Real Red for the color of the truck. Now there are a couple ways you can do these wheels. I know in my class a lot of folks had difficulty stamping the tires to get them to line up. I'm going to do it and just give you a tip how I typically do it. But sometimes when I'm in a rush and don't want to line up, I just grab my marker. You can either grab a Stampin' Right black marker or your blends, your dark black blends, and use that. But I find if I'm going to stamp using the wheels, I stamp them first. And I think I may have gotten that too close to the edge. No, it's okay. And a tip on these photopolymer stamps, and y'all have heard me say this before in other videos, but when I apply photopolymer stamps to a block, I don't, now that I've used this, I can take it off, but I don't take and put it on because they stretch. Instead, what I like to do is I will take and I will just lay after I pull it out of the stamp case, I'll lay it down, let it sit, let it relax a minute after being stretched, and then I will take and pick it up with my block. That way it is even and it's not stretched out of shape. Just try to remember that with all of your photopolymer stamps, particularly when they're big, when they're larger, or that they have a thinner piece in them. You know, like now some of these little sentiments, they work out, but I still lay them down because I like to use my grid paper to ensure that I get them lined up straight. That's my tip for you. So now for the outline, I'm inking up my stamp, and then where the wheels, where the tires touch the fender on each side, I look at that where I have stamped with the ink, and when I can no longer see black, then that's how I know that I've got it lined up. And I may have to pull this out of camera because I have to get over it pretty good to look at it. Plus I look at it from the side to make sure. And we'll see if I was able to do it. I was off a little here, and I think I moved it when I lifted back to stamp, plus I didn't have enough ink. But then, I'm not going to stamp it again, I'm just going to do it as such. Oh, my ink's not real good. Let me put that to the side. I inked my pad, and I must not have had it inked very good. Must not have the ink dispersed. Let me just get in the middle. So we'll stamp that. There, that's better. Now we'll pull in our real red, and let's go ahead and stamp our red truck. And there again, I'm using the fenders above the wheels to line it up. That seems to be a good spot to get this lined up properly. Well, and I missed we're going to try that again. Having a time with this one. Usually it's because I'm filming. I'm doing a video, that's why. Any other time and it would work perfectly. So let's see if we can get this lined up there. That looks like that's better. Yes. A little splotch there, but that's okay because trucks, these are well-loved trucks. They have been used a lot to come down the mountain. So they're faded and so forth. And now I'm going to pull in the Farm Fresh stamp, and it's from that stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that on the door, because this is a tree farm they're coming from. And now this is where I pull in my Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to just color in that wheels versus worrying about staying straight. And I did miss a little bit here, so I'm just going to take and hit that outline a little. And take the larger pen. And another thing which I did not do for this video, I did not pull out my little piercing mat. When stamping images such as this that have a big space, I do like to use that mat under there to help get a little bit more even pressure. That's why that happened on this. But as I said, these are well-loved trucks, as you can see on this one. I left them like that. My pad was a little too juicy for that, but that is okay. So now we punch that out. As I said, if you don't have the punch, they do fussy cut quite easily. And we're going to have our trucks, determine where we're going to have one here and one coming down the mountain. Of course, that could be snow on here, on the side of that truck too, coming down the mountain. And then for our trees, what you're going to do is there's two tree stamps. There's the outline, and then there's the interior. For the outline, I'm stamping it in Mossy Meadow. And don't worry about trying to keep track of all the products I've used or the sizes. They will be in the description of this video. Then I'm taking Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to ink up the interior portion of the tree. Line that up. And then we're going to fussy cut that, but we want to leave a little space so that we can attach those trees to our truck bed. So I'm just going to snip that off, and then this is where I'm going to, so see, I've left that little tiny bit, and it only needs to be about 1/4 of an inch, an 1/8 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And then we're just going to trim around the tree that goes inside of our truck bed, since we're bringing Christmas trees down the mountain from the tree farm. We're going to attach that to the back, and I'm using the mini glue dot to do that. Well, if I can get it picked up here. And I find it easier to put it on the bed of the truck and then just attach the tree to the truck, and then we're going to add dimensionals, and I will put a dimension, so I repurpose my paper. I stamped that on the portion that had the truck, but you'd never know that. Done that on both of these, but that's good. That goes to show you that you can just flip something over and use the opposite side. Okay, this one is not working. What I like to do for placing that tree, I put it in and then just sort of have the tree where it's coming off of the truck as so. And we'll put dimensionals on this truck. And determine about where we're going to place those. And then what I did is, in that stamp set, there's a stamp that's like the tire treads, and I decided to go ahead and stamp that where the trucks are, because as they're coming down, they are leaving tracks and dirt in, so I'm using gray granite for that. And then the wheels will line up perfect to fit inside those tracks. But as I said earlier, when I saw this paper, I was like, a truck is coming down the mountain, which if you did the horse and sleigh, he would be going up the mountain. But I decided I wanted trucks coming from the tree farm down the mountain. And then I will show you what I did on the inside, which you could do. You could do the same. I'm not going to stamp in that. I'm just going to show you. But there are lots of options that you could do. But before I show you the interior of the card, let me go ahead and do our special delivery stamp. There it is. And get the front of this card completed. And for the sentiment, I am putting the red layering panel. I have put it on dimensionals to boost it so that it has a little height. And then I've embellished it with some of the festive pearls. You could also use just regular rhinestones. You could use some of the other embellishments that are in the catalog or available online. But I do feel that we need just a little bling around this sentiment. Move a few things out of the way here, and then I will show you what I've done for the inside of the card to give you an idea of how you could finish the card off. So I actually stamped the Wishing You a Festive Christmas, which comes from that stamp set, and then I stamped another truck. And then I put the packages in that because they've already brought the trees down and now there's packages being delivered. You could also just stamp a line of trucks across if you wanted. You could also, on the front of the envelope, just stamp a partial of the truck as if he's gone, you know, they've already started their path down. But those are just a few ideas for using the Trucking Along bundle. I hope you've enjoyed this card, and if you have any questions, just be sure to leave me a message. As I said, the materials used and the dimensions, although there's really not a lot because you can use a lot of scrap pieces on this, but I will have all of that information in the description of this video, and along with the list of materials. And if you would take a moment and just like this video and hit subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.